When we map the universe, we usually see a crowd. The cosmos is a busy place. It is a glowing web of filaments, walls, and nodes where thousands of galaxies cluster together like cities at night. Wherever we look, we see light, except for one spot. In the direction of the constellation Boötes, the herdsman, there is a hole in the map. It is a perfect sphere of absolute darkness. While the rest of the sky is a tapestry of light, this region is a blank canvas. It is the place where the universe seems to have simply stopped. We didn't know this abyss existed until 1981. An astronomer named Robert Kirshner and his team were conducting a redshift survey. They were trying to build a three-dimensional map of the galaxy distribution in space. They expected to find the usual pattern, a sponge-like structure where clumps of matter are separated by small, empty pockets. But as their data came in, they hit a wall of silence. At a specific distance, the galaxies just disappeared. They checked their equipment, they checked the math, but the data was correct. They had stared into the void, and they found nothing staring back. To understand why this is scary, you have to understand the scale. Most voids in the universe are small pockets between filaments. But the Boötes Void is a monster. It is roughly 330 million light-years across. It is so large that it makes up nearly 0.27% of the entire observable universe. If you were traveling at the speed of light, it would take you 3 million centuries to cross it. Astronomers call it the Great Nothing, but the size isn't the problem. The density is the problem. Based on the average density of the universe, a region of space this size should be teeming with life. Statistically, we should find at least 2,000 galaxies inside this sphere. It should be a bustling metropolis of stars. But we haven't found 2,000. After decades of searching with our most powerful telescopes, we have found 60. That means this region is 97% emptier than it has any right to be. It is a desert in the middle of an ocean. This level of isolation creates a terrifying thought experiment. Imagine if our galaxy, the Milky Way, wasn't here. Imagine it was located in the dead center of the Boötes Void. If we lived there, the night sky would be black. The nearest neighboring galaxies would be so far away that our early telescopes would never have seen them. We would have looked up and seen nothing but our own stars surrounded by an infinite, eternal darkness. We wouldn't have known that other galaxies existed. We wouldn't have known the Big Bang happened. We wouldn't have known the universe was expanding. We would have believed with absolute certainty that we were the only objects in existence. We would have been the loneliest civilization in history. To understand how a whole this big can exist, we have to look at the architecture of the cosmos. The universe is not a solid block of matter. It is a foam. We call this the soap bubble model. Galaxies love company. They cluster together along gravitational filaments, massive walls of hydrogen and dark matter. These filaments are the skin of the bubbles. The insides of the bubbles are naturally empty. These are the cosmic voids. So seeing a void is normal. But seeing a void the size of Boötes is like seeing a bubble that takes up half the bathtub. Recent mapping suggests that our view might be deceptive. We see a circle in the sky, so we assume it is a sphere, but it might be a tunnel. Some astrophysicists believe the Boötes Void is actually a tubular structure. It is a corridor of darkness, stretching hundreds of millions of light-years deep into the cosmos, pointing directly away from Earth. If this is true, we are staring down the throat of a galactic cannon. It is a massive hollow cylinder where gravity has simply given up. How does nature build a tunnel that big? The leading theory is the merger. Just like soap bubbles in a sink, cosmic voids can collide. Billions of years ago, there were likely many smaller, separate voids in this region. As the universe expanded, the thin walls of galaxies separating them were stretched until they snapped. The walls collapsed, the galaxies drifted to the edges, and the smaller voids merged into one super void. We are looking at a cosmic accident, a place where the foam popped. But there might be an active force at work too. We know that gravity pulls. Massive objects like the Great Attractor pull galaxies toward them, but voids might do the opposite. This is the dipole repeller theory. A void represents a lack of mass. Relative to the rest of the universe, it acts like a region of negative gravity. It doesn't technically push, but the result is the same. Galaxies are being repelled by the emptiness and pulled by the clusters. The Boötes Void is clearing out its own neighborhood, shoving galaxies toward the walls. And once the clearing starts, the monster takes over. Dark energy. Remember, dark energy is the force that expands space. In dense regions like galaxy clusters, gravity is strong enough to fight back against dark energy. It holds things together. But inside the void, there is no matter. There is no gravity to fight back. The Boötes Void is a playground for dark energy. Inside that darkness, the universe is expanding faster than anywhere else. It is a runaway reaction. The emptiness makes the expansion faster, and the expansion makes it emptier. It is a hole that is tearing itself open. If the void is so hostile, how did anything survive there? The 60 galaxies we found are weird. They aren't just randomly scattered. They appear to be arranged in a rough tube shape running through the center of the void. Furthermore, they are unusually bright. They are actively forming stars much faster than average galaxies. They are like oases in a desert. Why are they so energetic in such a lonely place? Some astronomers believe they are late bloomers, galaxies that formed recently from the leftover gas that wasn't cleared out. But their arrangement is strange. This strangeness leads to the wildest, scariest theory of all. What if the void isn't natural? What if it was made? The Soviet astronomer Nikolai Kardashev proposed a scale for alien civilizations. A Type 3 civilization is one that has conquered an entire galaxy. It masters the energy of billions of stars. Some theorists suggest that the Boötes Void isn't empty. It is just occupied. How would a super civilization hide a galaxy energy needs? To power an empire of that size, you need every photon you can get. You wouldn't just let stars shine uselessly into space. You would build Dyson spheres or Dyson swarms around them. Massive networks of solar collectors that capture 100% of a star's output. To an outside observer, like us on Earth, what does that look like? It looks like the star vanished. It went dark. If you do this to every star in a region, you create a void. This theory suggests we are seeing an empire in progress. A civilization starts at a home star. It expands outward to the nearest neighbors, encasing them in Dyson spheres to fuel their growth. Then they move to the next layer of stars, and the next. Their territory expands like a bubble. If this is happening in Boötes, the 60 galaxies we see might just be the ones they haven't reached yet. They are the last holdouts in a region that is being systematically consumed and cloaked. Is there any evidence for this? Proponents point to the shape. Natural voids tend to be messy. They are elongated, irregular blobs. But the Boötes Void is surprisingly spherical. A sphere is a hallmark of artificial expansion, a wave growing outward from a central point at a constant speed. Nature rarely draws perfect circles on this scale. Intelligence does. If we are looking at an expanding empire, its borders are stunningly precise. Is a galactic empire of this size even possible? Let's look at the math. The Boötes Void is 330 million light-years across. To expand that far, a civilization would need hundreds of millions of years, even with faster-than-light travel. If they are limited to light speed, it would take billions of years. But the universe is nearly 14 billion years old. There has been plenty of time. If a civilization emerged early, say 5 billion years ago, they could easily have consumed a region of space this large. Time is not the problem. Physics is. There is a major flaw in the alien theory. Thermodynamics. Even a Dyson sphere cannot make energy disappear. It uses the energy, but it must release waste heat. According to the laws of physics, a galaxy wrapped in solar panels should be invisible to our eyes, but it should glow brightly in infrared. We have scanned the Boötes Void with infrared telescopes. We looked for the heat signatures of 1,000 hidden empires. We found nothing. The void is cold. Unless they have broken the laws of thermodynamics, the empire theory remains unlikely. But the silence is still unsettling. If it's not aliens, it's gravity. And the void is part of a larger machine. Remember the great attractor. On one side of the sky, thousands of galaxies are being pulled toward a mysterious gravitational anomaly. Here in Boötes, thousands of galaxies are fleeing. The universe is a flow. It flows from the empty places to the full places. The Boötes Void is the source of the river. The great attractor is the mouth. We are caught in the current between the great nothing and the great pool. But forget the physics for a moment. Think about the experience. Imagine living on a planet inside the void. If your civilization evolved there, you wouldn't see the Milky Way. You wouldn't see Andromeda. You would have no concept of a universe. Your entire reality would be your own sun and maybe a few faint smudges of the other 59 survivors. You would believe with scientific certainty that you were alone in an infinite darkness. You would never dream of space travel because there would be nowhere to go. It is the ultimate cosmic solitary confinement. The Boötes Void serves as a humble reminder. We often think the universe is uniform, the same everywhere. But it has geography. It has cities of light, and it has deserts of darkness. Whether it is a natural anomaly, a trick of dark energy, or the home of a silent empire, it reminds us of one thing. The map is not finished. There are still places in the dark where the rules seem to break. And until we go there, we are just guessing from the safety of the shore.